Hello and welcome back to my blog. Another one from Grandpa Sims, the old schoolmaster's reflections. It's I guess Celiac Awareness Week, and coincidentally he wrote a thing in here about appendicitis. Mellies Operation. It was a hot Sunday in July. The dust was thick on the road. The air shimmered with heat waves. Excitement was rampant in our neighborhood. One of our dear sweet souls was sick. Married with 2 lovely children, she was young and pretty. She had friends far and wide. Her relatives were numbered by the dozens. Someone finally had the gumption and influence to have a specialist from the city examine Mellie. He said she had appendicitis. This was something new in that neck of the woods. We get excited today over a heart transplant. It is new. Someday it will be common and perhaps much more successful. In our neighborhood, appendicitis was just as strange. No one could be sure an operation would be successful. This was the very first one for us. The patient took an awful chance. It was even more dangerous when the patient could not get to a hospital. Mellie could not be moved that far with the kind of transportation we had. She would have to go by horse-drawn vehicle to the railroad station about 4 miles from her home. Then, after a long train ride, she would still have trouble getting to the hospital. We had no telephones in our neighborhood. Through the help of relatives and friends, this famous surgeon in the big city was informed of Mellie's condition. We were informed, too. She would surely die if she did not have the operation. So the surgeon came to Mellie's house. Word soon reached us that he would arrive about noon on this hot Sunday in July, and he would come by means of a horseless carriage. That, too, was new to us. We relished the word automobile. We could hardly sit through Sunday school in church. We could hardly finish our dinner. As soon as we could break away, we hustled out to the front steps to watch for the automobile. It was supposed to pass our house. Mellie lived just a short distance down the road. Our farms were next to each other. We thought sure the doctor would come down the road, but they took another road. We figured they got lost. In fact, we could not understand how anyone could find where she lived. The roads were not named, and how could anyone give them directions? We found out later that Mellie's relatives had stationed themselves at all the crossroads they were liable to use from the main highway they would take out of the city. And that is the way the doctor's party found their way. They would have known the place when they arrived at the end of the lane by the number of kids assembled there. We had given up sitting on our front steps and had joined the crowd. We wanted to go in, but were afraid we might yell or do something that would disturb the operation. So we just hung around the end of the lane until the operation was over and the surgeon and his helpers were ready to leave. It must have been hours later when they came out the lane. They made an awful racket. The dust was thick. They all wore dusters, caps, and goggles. We watched the man driving. Most of us knew how to drive a traction engine. The fellow driving had a steering wheel about like a traction engine, but we noticed that he turned it just a little as he came to the end of the lane to get on the main road. With a traction engine, you had to turn like mad to get it to make a sharp turn like that. Did you notice how easy he turned the steering wheel? That is what we talked about and what fascinated us as we watched our very first automobile in action. Mellie survived. She lived to a ripe old age. In fact, she may still be living. Word soon got around that her appendix was full of blackberry seeds, and that is what caused the trouble. It was about the end of the blackberry season. We had canned a lot of blackberries, but no one ate any for a long time. The scare became worse when someone else nearby had to have his appendix out, and it, too, was full of blackberry seeds. It is a wonder that anyone ever ate blackberries again. In fact, lots of people threw their canned berries out for the birds and chickens. And that was the story of the appendicitis operation, which is commonplace nowadays. Make it a great day, and bye for now.